Two, three. Hello there. Hey, hi. I said hello, not hello. It's a difference, you know. The two different words with the two different spellings. And last but not least, the two different definitions or meanings. Understand what I'm saying? Understand where I'm coming from? You know, whereas I will no longer be employing the uses this, or be using the greeting word of hello compared to halo after I had received an epiphany, revelation, or whatever you want to call it. Anybody? Whereas I was reading this one pamphlet or leaflet, or so I say, that speaking correct, proper standard English grammar of the American dialect of some or such qualities and quantities or not. And as I think of it with that in my mind's intention to try to backtrack here, but reason on purpose is being known, so I can go on to following to continue from where and when that my person had last left off, so that I myself can or could possibly finish up as in complete a form of previous or prior line of thought, and in the same sense of the word. And where this one little pamphlet or leaflet was like saying, as it was drafted, composed, or whatever I said by this one author, and whereas he was saying in more words or less that when one person greets some or such another person with the greeting word of hello, that you're literally actually wishing a curse upon that other person or another being, because the root word of the greeting word of hello is supposed to be that of the word hell, being of which is to be translated to be defined as meaning a place of torment. Or so I paraphrase, if not quote exactly. So therefore, I will no longer be making uses thereof, or using the greeting word of hello compared to how I will substitute it or replace it with that being the greeting word of halo, though it sounds similar, but then it has not only a different pronunciation, but then nevertheless a different spelling and or definition or meaning. But then I will continue to employ the uses thereof, or use the greeting words otherwise of hey and hi. Then how are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay, if not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right, or if not best of all, to be said to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed than stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, the family and friends, and hopefully me and mine, likewise as well, or all the same. Okay? And this is regardless of whatsoever or whatever times being in which we are living in, and be it that much more or that much less, but then more than likely, much more than likely, and much more often than not, it is fulfilling biblical prophecy for these here end times, the end of days, these last and evil days, before the end of the world, the second coming of Christ. Yes. Well, hopefully everyone feel that much better than what that being of my person have felt like last, and hopefully not likewise to be said than what that of my person have feeling like as of the present given more time. Well, hopefully I feel much better than last. Well, since the last time I was online, for that being of my own personal channel and or chat room, you know, when I had last broadcast a social media video, for that being of my own, as I was saying, more or less. being that which is the same in the second question of the former previous prior mentioned. Okay. All right. Okie dokie. Yes. May everyone, being of my social media family, or any visitors for that matter, be feeling at least okay. If not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right. Or if not best of all, to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine likewise as well, are all the same. Yes. Hold that thought. No, I'm not Catholic. That's a universal sign for any and every person being a whom is supposed to be. Well, hopefully that much more let it be said and unstated for the record. That is affiliated, associated with, and representing the Christian world, not the world of churchianity. There's a difference, you know. No, those of churchianity would, for the uses of, use that physical hand gesture that much more than we being of the few real or true Christians compared to how the majority of most church goers are of the likes of false brethren, false prophets, and antichrist. Majority or most churchgoers of whatsoever religious denominations, being of whom are likewise as well all the same. Not just the worship, but the worcest of closet devil worshippers. Whatsoever religious denominations, churchgoers from the pews to the pulpit, who are being controlled by the most powerfulest church of the devil's churches, being of the headquarters church as it is, being of the main church of the devils and demons church, being of the Catholic Church. And whereas, though this is supposed to be a Catholic hand gesture of a physical nature, nevertheless, it can or could possibly, even so, be used by Protestants and not necessarily by those being of sellouts who are working hand in hand with the devils and demons church for whatever other churches being of which could possibly be only satellites of the devils and demons main church, the Catholic Church, you know, whatever other churches or the different other religious denominations of churchianity, being of which is promoting the devil's kingdom upon the planet Earth or in the world, being of which is altogether different, completely like so entirely, from that of Christianity, being of which represents that they're otherwise or is associated with and affiliated with the few real or true Christians or believers in God or Protestants, as I myself, compared to how the majority of most are those being otherwise or vice versa. As I was saying, and I'm stating for the record, you know, being of the likes the same of the said in question and of the former previous and prior mention of the opposition camp. You know. Anyway, though, let me get to speaking upon some of such matters now that I have pretty much so gotten all of the preliminaries, the basic intro out the way. And don't kill the messenger. I'm just here to deliver. All right, for whatever I can speak upon, be it one thing or another, be I were to speak upon one subject matter or a couple of few topics of discussions or arguments to be debated with the many different views and opinions to be associated or affiliated with and representing their. But then, if any internet trolls of a negative, not to mention ungodly, godless, devilish, demonic, demon-possessed nature, should perhaps or could possibly maybe think of it with a mindset in that same line of thought sense word, or think of a man's intentions to pay a visit to my own personal channel in a chat room, then tread lightly. And as a matter of fact, I would hope that you would take notice of the footnotes of interest to the side of this particular present social media broadcast or video before you were to go there with me, because if you're not contemplating becoming a subscriber of mine, and neither nor is sharing my social media broadcast or video with another or others, then I would appreciate it if you would just come in here and shut up. Sit down and shut up and take your shoes off. If you want, I don't care. Take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouths, because I have a zero tolerance level for negative internet troll characters. Well, whatever I say, speaking correct, proper standard English grammar, the American dialect of some or such qualities and quantities or not. Be I speaking the King's English or street slang for that matter. The bottom line is, it's just as I have said and are stated for the record. And like say, for example, this one negative internet troll that had paid me a visit last, I don't know if I have finally successfully blocked him, because I have warned him many times, but he continued to disregard, ignore, or disrespect me up until the time that I finally have had to seriously contemplate blocking him altogether, as in permanently. Some are such a user with the username of, I think it was, if I do recall or recollect or remember correctly. Oh, excuse me, I was eating mac and cheese. Not that I'm Mickey Mouse. Getting back to some or such of another character from this. How much less of a secret society, royal family, or of the papacy. Vatican City, Rome, Italy are the most notorious and or famous in secret societies and royal families. Being of a religious, supernatural, spiritual nature of the opposition of the devil and the demon. But getting back to something such like that. And whereas this internet troll of a negative nature went by the username of, I think it was Anony18B4U, and as he was calling me some of anything and everything he could think of in a negative way, anything and everything but the child of God or a child of God. And I was trying to be lenient with him and not trying to think of it with a man's intentions to take it personally, but when he got to really get out of order or out of line from there, well, I'll let you all fill in the blanks. How should I put it? In other words, dot those I's, cross those T's, read between the lines, as well as fill in the blanks. Whereas his paid visits, paid not so much as a subscriber, I don't mean like that, but whereas his continued visits to my own personal channel and or chat room will become permanently history, and because life is too short to permit somebody else to take another person or some such other individual hostage or captive, to make a captive out of one's rather twisted, warped, wicked mindset. When I have more than enough of a character, one of the dime a dozen public nuisances or problem neighbors or proverbial neighbors from hell who would attempt to do that with me enough as it is upon a daily and a nightly basis. Whereas I don't need necessarily a negative internet troll attempting to get in on the act, especially if that being someone or such a one of that nature could possibly, for that matter, be one of my proverbial neighbors from hell, moonlighting as not only a negative internet troll, but then possibly likewise, well, all the same, as a crank caller character and or stalker, not to mention, last but not least, but possibly worst of all, as a spook to sit by the door, making like a midnight cowboy, attempting to come off like an intruder or home invader. And that is why I try to sleep with something alongside of my bed, so I can leave my business card or otherwise, just in case one wants to leave one's own business card altogether different, and as a matter of personal self-defense. But then I do believe in dialing that emergency number 911 to make contact with, as in dialect, to alert the local neighborhood law enforcement community of police officials, officers, or cops in the event of a life crisis emergency. But then if you have a difference of opinion with one of my social media broadcasts or videos, or with that of my channel chat room, then I would appreciate it if you were to bring it to my attentions, provided that you are a person being of whom I would like to give the benefit of the doubt that still possess half of your marbles. Otherwise, take a hike. My own channel and or chat room is not for you. If you're going to attempt to change the format than what I had originally had it established, for how I had taken the necessary liberties to pursue that being of the business at hand for my own personal venture and enterprise, which is to establish a social media account with this particular social media website address, as we all know to be commonly called or known likewise as that of YouTube, though some would consider it to be or have nicknamed YouTube. Then a lot of social media is controlled by the Jewish mafia, not only by them but by the gay mafia likewise, especially when it comes to Hollywood, California's movie, television, and music industries. Anyway, though, let me get into the particular present social media broadcast or video, regardless of whether or not that my person were to, like, say, or how you say, speak upon any other ones for that matter. And as you can judge or notice from the title to this particular one up ahead, then I would appreciate if you would likewise take notice of the footnotes on the side of this particular social media broadcast or video as we have it here. And as I'm speaking upon one of the, not just much more, but one of the most notorious and infamous characters throughout human history. Oh, excuse me again, my science is and being as he is, none other than the late fuehrer. The word fuehrer does not necessarily have to mean, whereas it could be given a negative connotation all the time, or in this particular case to describe, that is some basically, or that being, for the video it is a social media broadcast, but it doesn't necessarily have to all the time mean to be considered as making reference to a negative despot or dictator, But quite naturally, I am making reference to, for this particular present given on time for the social media broadcast of the video at hand, when I am making reference to Adolf Hitler, who was the leader back then of the Nazi Party, and who was also the dictator of Nazi Germany. But then, whereas now that particular European country or nation has since become a democratic republic or a democracy compared to what it had been before, formerly, previously, or prior to what it is now. So Adolf Hitler, excuse my language, Paul French, and had played the part of devil's advocate, less to he'd been a product of some ways, worse to he was in the likes of those being of the worcest of closet devil worshippers, being of the likes of false brethren, false prophets, and antichrist, and the likes of the majority of most churchgoers of whatsoever, whatever religious denomination, from the pools to the pulpits. Again, And we go as a backtrack here with reason on purpose being, in order so I can go on to the following. To continue from where and when that my person had last left off, so I can finish up as a completed form of previous or prior lines on the saints' word and making reference to the late Führer of Nazi Germany being Adolf Hitler himself. I believe that he was, quite the gay guy, homo or faggot, not just gay like or homo faggot, but literally actually could have been more often than not a closet faggot cocksucker. No offense is meant to be directed at the much more familiar gay guys, homos, or faggots. Hopefully, those been of whom were less notorious and or famous or megalomaniacs of homicidal lunatic maniacs or psychopaths and or sociopaths or cowley bullies and or terrorist wannabes, being of whom could have me reflect upon, remind me of a present proverbial neighbor from hell or one of the dime a dozen public nuisance problem neighbors. But Adolf Hitler, man, I believe he was heavily off into other males of the same sex in a gay-like homo or faggot kind of way, or as a gay guy homo or closet faggot, sucking many mushroom tips, like and rad and some or such, I wouldn't mean to say, I wouldn't want or mean to say like a baby on the bottle, because that would be, that could possibly be doing disrespect to innocent little ones of a nature or of infants. Well, I could say like a drunk on a bottle, or chronic alcoholic, or like a drug addict or hype on a pipe, Yeah, that Adolf Jack the Booty Hitler, the Führer, the late Führer of Nazi Germany, the leader of the Nazi Party, the numero uno crowd. I believe he was, heavily off into, other males, different races of males, men and boys like, especially the boys, like a gay pedophile Catholic priest, but closet sexual predator, rapist, or whatever I said. See some boys he like and like. Giggity. Man, she's a big. Oh, that dog. Yeah, I guess.
Side, net laying. Paid programming. Net laying. The king is coming. Talking to God about it. The power of God and the Holy Spirit. Net laying paid programming.
Why don't you start again today?
I don't listen to anybody and everybody. On any electronic medium of communications. You hear what I'm saying? God forbid. You know how that is, everybody. Okay? I'd be a
Now
fool if I
play
was.
NBC5 News at 10 p.m.
Yeah, but anyway, though,
Now playing.
I believe that the late for Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler,
Liturgical.
was big on other guys or fellas, you know. He just couldn't get enough.
Liturgical.
Like say, or how you say, getting his mouth watered
Now playing.
and his
Storm of suspicion.
his
32
butthole or booty hole or his
Channel 100.
dookie hole wet.
Bobby Flay.
You know what I'm saying? And as well as watering other males'
Season 8, episode 11.
mouths and buttholes, or booty holes, or dookie holes, or wetting other males' peanut butter Reese's peanut butter cups or buns with his you know, musty, dusty, rusty, sweaty mushroom tip, or Oscar Mayer wiener hot dog, or ballpark Frank, or Eckrich polar sausage, dripping that bean of ketchup and mustard, as well as peanut butter and mayo. You know, ketchup and mustard, blood and cooties, well as peanut butter, dookie, and mayo or mayonnaise, cum nut juice. Imagine it all. Every time grab a big fat beefy, weefy mushroom tip, you know, and be like, oh, 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 oh. Be like, oh yeah, ballpark Frank. Akamai wiener hot dog, ballpark Frank, Eckrich polar sausage. Give me a hoagie like that any day or any night. Like, Adolf cocksucking Hitler. Look, oh, like he licking and sucking on an ice cream cone. Maybe that's why those card-carrying members to the Aryan Nation of the neo-Nazi party are always goose-stepping. Then because they were like closet female impersonators in their own right, you know. And make with the goose step. Like you know, burlesque, cabaret, female impersonators, you know, or woman wannabes, you know. Like they could possibly have future ambitions to audition on the RuPaul television show if any of them were to be alive today. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that, Mel? Oh, yeah. Oh, which one I want? Yeah, I want that one, and I want that one. Like Lay's or Jay's potato chips. You can't just eat one. Well, yeah, give me that one. Oh, give me that one. Hey, come here, sir. Oh, come here, boy. Let me holler at you. Oh, put that one. Especially if they be into, you know, sexual assault or rape. Speaking upon that last subject matter, or would be considered as a topic of discussion, for a given argument in its own right to be debated with many different views and opinions, be affiliated or associated with some or such thereof, and be representing that being of the same. For that last mention, I was reviewing a social media broadcast. How what would let me see, what social media website address was that? I think it was on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken. But then I have an account with that one as well. There's quite a few other ones. Still have accounts with, even so, not equal as well, especially, but even so, pornographic ones, and I'm still deleting a lot of the much more graphic contents of videos for my own personal accounts when it comes to that format. But anyway, I was there, I think it was TikTok, if it was not for some of such other ways, it was saying that they have developed a certain non-oxygen latex condom or rubbers for women, just in case they could possibly, have the dangerous precedence of becoming a casualty or put at a disadvantage in the sex wars at the hands of a captor, of a kidnapper, or one of those closet sexual predator animal monster characters, or rapists and pedophiles, or non-gay males, guys, fellas, or dudes. Whereas the rubbers in question is supposed to be manufactured, made with teeth in it, for the material substance. Whereas if a rapist were to penetrate them, they couldn't get out of that situation. That is, they couldn't pull up from camp like they would, like very much, or would love to do just that after perpetrating a sexual assault or a hate crime or rape against any of their female victims, or women and girls alike, or whatsoever races, and likewise, or whatever walks of life, factions of society, lifestyle preferences. Being that because these teeth or fangs within the rubber, within the woman, in the woman's rubbers, will grip the private parts of their crotch areas, their penises, and hold it. And if they try to pull it out, it would cut their stuff to ribbons, similar to that of a razor blade. Ooh, and that is really seriously a scary predicament or dilemma. I kid you not. Look it up if you don't believe me. Go to TikTok and search for woman's rubbers with teeth in it, or fangs, or whatever I have said. And with rubbers like that on the market to be made for purchase, or for any woman to buy as an extra security measure to keep themselves from being victimized by a closet sexual predator, be it were to be of a non-gay male rapist, or worse yet, of a non-gay male pedophile, of a child molester who's into females, then I'd be like, see, you don't want to be you. Then, because if you stick and stuff your private parts of your crotch area and bringing it together with a female's without her permission or without her consent, even if it were to be without her knowledge, likewise, if you were to accost or assault or attack her while she herself could possibly be up under the influences of an intoxicating alcoholic beverage, or worse yet, a drug of choice, still all the same, you would suffer the same predicament or dilemma as any other non-gay male closet sexual predator, animal monster character of a rapist, or worse yet, a pedophile, being that because your dick, your prick, or your penis will get locked up in that female's pussy or poon chain or vagina of her own private parts of her own crotch area with those or these kind of rubbers, woman's rubbers, are non-latex condoms that would not only or supposed to not only prevent them from contracting or catching a sexually transmitted disease, but likewise to prevent their male attacker who could possibly assault them, this one or that one, of a rapist or worse yet, pedophile of a non-gay guy, fellow or dude of a male character as that being from possibly trying to think of it with mind's intentions to get away, much more easily or easier if some of such were not to be employed or uses or were not to be used. Compared to if some of such were to be, then that would be quite, is that what I mean? Say, no, that's not the half of it. That would be a hell of a situation of a case up under those particular conditions, And unless you're like some kind of bodybuilder that could carry your female victim somewhere else, and then to try to figure out how to, release your penis from her vagina without having to be tore to ribbons, or unless you're some kind of escape artist like a Houdini copycat or wannabe, then your chances of going to the can, as into the big house, the jailhouse, to become a jailbird or convict or inmate of a penal colony of the prison system, to get your own name tag numerical digit as someone or such a one being of a new resident for a cell block for a penitentiary setting is more than likely, more often than not, sealed fate for you to be damned in the or a hell of jail. And this will be a reality. I looked it up on TikTok. I was just at one time now just trying to chill. Then I didn't go much of anywhere today. Is that what I'm saying? No, this is one of them day being one of so very few. Like I wouldn't think to become or be like a hermit all day and not go anywhere. If anything, that would only happen once in a million years for anybody. Homeless or otherwise. You got a place to call your own. Whereas at the most, if you do stay in all day, it would be where you would only go out if it would prove to be really necessary to take care of your basic needs. If you're feeling up under the weather, but then if you're not, how much more you be out there in the streets taking care of business. But today I didn't go anywhere, not even to church for a Sunday for this sabbatical weekend as we have it. For what is supposed to be Mother's Day. The 9th day of the 5th month, being of which is supposed to be for the month of May, within the calendar year of our Lord and Savior 2021, and for a sabbatical Sunday of the weekend. Whereas I just stayed in all day. I was feeling just so speaking power some of the other matters now they come to mind. I really just didn't feel up to it. I don't know if any doctors or nurses at whatever hospital may have secretly given me that vaccine, whereas I'm not in the vaccines. I specifically tell them I don't want any injections. And especially as I get to reflecting upon a Tuskegee experiment, whereas a host of Poor, uneducated black males were injected with a sexually transmitted disease of some kind, sort of type. Compliments of not only the government, but the medical community working with the government to infect them, and they were not treated for the symptoms for half a century. That's 50 years. They were left untreated. And then were compensated later, but not much compared to how some of such others, populations of peoples or persons receive more than, or at least a reasonable amount of reimbursement or compensation, you know, for what they had suffered at the hands of not only the U.S. government, but the medical establishment or the medical community. And whereas the two most oppressed peoples in the world is always the blacks and the white Jewish, you know. Anyway, though, getting back to some of such other, you know, the original topic of discussion. So Adolf Hitler, he was like, you know, so I can imagine he had this field of many males, you know, for how he ruled the whole of Nazi Germany. He could pay a visit to any, you know, Nazi concentration camp back then before the Allies were to liberate the continent of Europe, and have his pick of a lot of any males or whatsoever races and whatever walks of life, then of whom he could possibly want to engage in a sexual liaison with, and not necessarily being of a closet one either, you know, to get his freak on with, like giggity giggity, like the gay quagmire. You know what I'm saying? Like, giggity giggity, giggity giggity. You know. Yeah, that's disgusting. I hold that thought, y'all.
Allergies don't have to be scary. Spraying Flonase daily stops your body from overreacting to allergens all season long. All good. Eating better is easy when everything is done for you. Meet freshly. Chef-cooked meals ready in minutes.
What the? Devil is a lie and the truth is that it.
Freshly.com today. Real love is finding the perfect co-pilot. Saying yes to adventure. Saying nothing and feeling endlessly. E-harmony. Here's the real love. You want healthy ingredients. Your cat is all about the flavor.
Stay with me, y'all.
Really want him to eat well, but he's just really picky. Okay, he seems interested. I think he likes it.
Can y'all still see me?
One taste is all it takes.
I will destroy her.
Bring it on.
Supergirl, Tuesday at 8 on CW26.
You're into your shows, right? The Office. And you can be really into your shows with Xfinity. Find your favorites for just your voice. No power, regardless of noticing. What? Like, get live sports on the go. Stealing my seat. And if you have Xfinity Internet, Flex services.
All right.
Starts at 3.
Sorry about that.
Get really into
I'm
your
back.
shows.
Let me see.
So way better way to watch.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold up.
Master's in nursing leadership degree online from GCU, and
Alrighty.
you can become a leader responsible for staff development and patient
Disregard what y'all may hear in the background.
175 high-quality online programs. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Visit GCU.
All right. Yes, Adolf Hitler. He had a really, really sexual hunger for other males, I believe, you know. And he was only putting on the front that is like he was so much in the woman, you know. Okay. Then he said that Adolf Hitler was supposed to be partly a white Jewish male himself, you know, but somehow he covered up all that evidence way before he became chancellor or dictator of Nazi Germany. Yeah, he was sucking piles upon piles of other males, mushroom chips, or Oscar Mayer wiener hot dogs, or ballpark franks, or Eckrich polar sausages, as well as riding piles upon piles of some of such. And likewise, the world are all the same, giving his to other males of the same sex. You know, I can imagine like getting sloppy with it. You know, Adolf Hitler, the gay numero uno chief Gestapo. Then your I think I'm just gonna close shop and leave y'all with this here on this last note of interest by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I will hope that you would think to do so now, while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing and realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some such Roman soldiers upon orders of their superiors, be they religious or otherwise, Pharisees, Sadducees, centurions, etc. Then, nevertheless, boys, he went to that cross of Calvary to fulfill biblical prophecy, become that perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you, y'all use, as well as for me, so that if any of us, being of whatsoever races and whatever walks of life, factions of society, lifestyle preferences, being of the old and young alike of both two sexual genders, but males and females, represent not only the human species, but then nevertheless the global community within this post-911 era of a new millennium, apocalyptic day and age, where the doomsday clock is now at a couple few minutes of midnight, compared on to our former period of prior to then. It was at a quarter of midnight for these rather biblically prophetic times. Were to profess some of such faith in them, from there we become or be blessed in one regard, not more ways than one. First and foremost, with his salvation being of which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly hope to become citizens of the kingdom of heaven. And second of all, with his deliverance. But first, you have got to get his salvation being the most important blessing. Otherwise, you have nothing coming so far as blessings is concerned. And if you should make that transition, or whereas you would eventually, as any of us, that's guaranteed. Make that transition for the great beyond the hereafter, the afterlife. Your final destination will be the lake of fire of damn hell with the rest of the unsaved unbelievers and non-believers, to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and the demon for all eternity, compared to how we, being a believers, will be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell, in the presence of God and his angels, as well as like-minded believers in God, as in Christians, aka Protestants. There are no Catholics, supposed so-called Jehovah's Witnesses, or supposed so-called Latter-day Saints in heaven, nor any other false brethren. Y'all take care and be safe. Peace.